Yes, some wonderful goals and some wonderful moments in your career, Jason. You've scored all sorts of goals, but I don't think probably the one you find your most memorable was actually in that compilation there, was it?
No, it was actually against St. Pat's. I used to love watching Marco van Basten years ago, and I used to try to emulate him, and I think one came over my shoulder and I hooked it over and went top corner, and it wasn't there, but that was probably one of my favourite goals I've scored.
And of course you've appeared in FAI Cup finals, winning 2 of them and scoring in both. I mean, obviously scoring in a cup final is pretty memorable as well, is it? Yeah,
it's a great day out. Cups, they don't come out very often, and when they do, you got to enjoy the occasion, enjoy it. Don't get too hyped up about it. And I think especially with Bray, we didn't. We took it all in, and lucky enough we got the win. And I was a bit younger than I was then, now, but no, that's a great day out, and it's especially for me and for my family as well, and it's a fantastic day.
Yeah, you've had many career highlights in club football, but obviously it must have been a very special time for you when you were selected in the Republic of Ireland squad. Is that a particular highlight?
Yeah, that was every young person's dream. When you go out and start playing football, you want to play for your country. I got the chance to do it twice now, probably the first one I didn't get very long, I only got a couple of minutes, but just the whole occasion for me was fantastic, and just the recognition that I got was great. And the week long in Portugal, the training camp that we had when Steve Staunton was manager was unbelievable for me. Just to be involved with all the lads and the whole week leading up to it, and then we got 20 minutes against Chile was great.
Yeah, obviously pulling on the green shirt is very special for any player. But something many players can't do is score goals on a regular basis, and that's what the top goal scorers do, and that's what you have been right throughout your career. I mean, people ask, what is the secret to goal scoring? I mean, when you get an opportunity in front of goal, obviously you must think of one thing and one thing only.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's all about the movement as well. It's not great movement, it's just finding the little pockets to score the goals and just getting into the right place at the right time. And as I always tell everyone, the goalposts don't move. You always have in the back of your head where the goal is. And as I said, people will say, "Oh, you're just shooting for the sake of it," but I'm not. I know where the goal is, and as I said, it doesn't move. And lucky enough for me, it goes in.
Yeah, but you also must have the instinct and the confidence, Damien, to finish. Now, while you were a manager, you never actually signed Jason. Was there any reason for that?
Well, he wasn't good enough. I never thought he'd score enough goals, you know. There were some great strikers in the league. I had Pat Morley and John Caulfield first at Cork. Then I had Stephen Gagan and Pat Morley at Shelbourne. So I was very lucky that I always played with people who were good goal scorers. And whilst you always appreciate people like Jason's calibre, you just can't take everybody. And sometimes you look at a player, I'd love to have him, but you can't fit him in. Or his price is too heavy. I mean, he was a top man. And but you always appreciate, of all the positions, you always appreciate the goal scorer, because he's the one where the pressure is. He's the one where people look to you to change the game. And when you do it week in, week out, season in, season out, you stand there for everybody to see. Your record is there for forever. And nobody can ever take that away from you. And ultimately, when you're long gone past playing like I am, you look back on your career, and invariably it's the goals you scored that you remember. They're the highlights, I think. Yeah,
and Tony, you played against Jason during your career. I mean, how difficult a man was he to watch up front?
Unfortunately, I'd say a fair chunk of his 202 goals were scored against UCD over the 10 or 11 years I played for them. I used to find it was very frustrating to play against him, to be honest with you. I remember playing against him in Belfield Park. We were playing for Shells at the time. And I came off that day thinking I'd had a great game. We were beaten 2-0 and he scored both goals. And it was that type of movement that he just had, that no matter how well you played against him, he mightn't have been in the game, but he was still capable of scoring goals, and he's done that throughout his career. If I look at him now, actually, a question for you as well, but if I look at him now relative to his involvement in games, it's a lot more in the latter years than it has been maybe earlier in your career. And I don't know whether you've seen that yourself, you've tweaked your game as you've gotten a little bit older, but you see your link-up play is a lot more prominent than it used to be. The question for you, I guess.
Yeah, well, years ago I used to, I used to strike a play off the shoulder, but my legs are gone nowadays, so I need to bring a different dimension to my game. And you learn off different players going down the years, and I remember watching Kevin Doyle one match, and we played a friendly, and he kept on backing in, and he was fighting with the defender. I said, we never really done that. And then I took that into my game, and then I'm wrestling with defenders before I come, and lucky enough now I get the ball to me.
Well, and that's a very, very good point there, because when I came back from England to the League of Ireland, there was very, very talented centre forward like Jason, who weren't taught to play the game up front, weren't taught to lead the line, weren't taught those little tricks, back in, create space. You could move off the last defender, but that little ingenuity, not enough people got coaching. And had people like Jason, Stephen Gagan, Pat Morley got that at a young age, they would have went on to be terrific players. So we've let the players down through the years, but nowadays they're on better coaching, and there's a much better system in operation.
Yeah, Jason, I know you're saying, but I think it's tongue-in-cheek that the legs are gone, because 10 league goals this season speaks for itself. But how long more do you think you're going to give it?
Hopefully, well, see how this year goes and see how the legs hold up after this year, then possibly get another year out of me. I know that there's a car in front of me with the record and stuff like that. It'd be great to get close to it.
Yeah.
So I said, if I score another 10 goals this year, well then I'll come back and give it another go next year.
Okay, Jason, well, great that you could join us this evening. Wish you continued success for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much.